Hey guys, this is Tommy Dimsdale with the Dimsdale Debate. We're going to be asking the question this week, does God want Christians to vote straight party Republican ticket in these upcoming elections? We're going to be diving into this conversation right now. So every year, millions of Christians line up to the polls to cast their vote, often for Republicans, but nearly always for those who they deem the lesser of two evils. So what's a Christian to do, guys? Are we to vote straight Republican ticket every time, vote for some Republicans, or even risk wasting a vote to a third-party candidate? The answer to this is very simple. Far too many Americans now look at politics as an outlet for infotainment, where we each pull for our team to win in order to suppress the agenda of the opposing team. And that's actually absolutely wrong. Think about this. What if both teams were actually on the same side? This becomes a moral dilemma as more and more so-called conservative Republican politicians often cave on the issues they vowed to fight for during their election seasons. Let me ask you this. Why is abortion still legal? Why are homosexual couples allowed to sue Christians over wedding cakes and win? Why are we still running record deficits, and why has the wall not been built? It's because Republican politicians know that even if they don't stand for these things, they can always count on a vast majority of conservative Christian voters to pull that lever on a straight Republican ticket once every 2 years, every November. Now, all they have to do is get tough, and of course, around election time, I'm looking at you, Lindsey Graham, and they have to decry that all of our rights will be taken should the Democrats be elected. Now, yes, that is a true statement. However, the idea that these Republicans would fight to keep those rights intact is yet to be seen. Now, first off, I do want to go further. I want to emphasize this is not an attack on all Republicans. It's not just throwing a bunch of shade and hate on the Republican Party, because there's a lot of good conservatives in the Republican Party. Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, just to name a few. And the Republican Party platform is fantastic. It clearly states many of my own values, pure values, Christian, wholesome values. However, the establishment of this party always panders to the left, always make sure that they're taken care of, panders towards the middle in a vain attempt to appease moderates and gain their votes. If we must look for someone to blame, let's not blame the party, but blame ourselves for continually rewarding bad behavior to a party that has become accustomed not having to earn our votes. Believe me, this lineup behind the party BS is what has started this mess. And when Christians realize that and start to think independently for themselves, independently of party, and start thinking of how God would want us to vote, then we will see the Republicans begin to drift further towards the right. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want this to come off as a video that's urging you to go vote third party all the way just because you don't like the Republican Party. You should have reasons, okay? The purpose of this video is to take well-meaning conservatives out of the paradigm of party first. I want you to ask yourself, what evils can a Republican commit until they no longer have your vote? After all, the idea of voting for the lesser of two evils is a pagan ideology that asks the question, which vote can I make to cause the least amount of pain for me? Now, it's not what's the right way to vote, no, not what vote reflects my values or how would God have me vote. It's all predicated on that question, on which candidate will cause me the least amount of pain. After decades of Christian voters not following their own conscience, we now have come to the point in a society that praises the transgender community, that wants to impose speech codes in our places of education, and wants to eradicate all forms of biblical influence from our country. This must change, and it starts with your vote. Now, of course, I can hear the objections right now, and I even share some of those objections. If we don't vote for the lesser of two evils, the more evil person will get elected. You're wasting your vote on someone who can't win. Obviously, guys, I understand that nearly all third-party candidates have no chance of winning. However, we got to ask ourselves, and I want to ask you, what is your goal? Is it to promote conservative Christian values, or do we simply want to feel good about our side winning, even though they commit the same sins as the opposing side? We can look to many stories in the Bible where biblical heroes repeatedly chose the option that would cause them excruciating pain, all in the name of having faith and trusting in God. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego is a very good opportunity to tell this story. They could have all bowed down to King Nebuchadnezzar in an act that most people would have thought, it's no big deal. You can live another day, evangelize more people, it'll be great. It's strategic, right? They could have bowed down, they could have not meant it, or even crossed their fingers behind their backs. However, they chose the option that was holy, righteous, and pure, even though it nearly promised untold pain for them. In the end, we see that God rewarded their choices, and those three were saved. This is the same mentality Christian voters must have when going to the voting booths each election cycle. If we truly do believe that God is in control, let's start voting how He would see fit and see if He doesn't protect us in the fires of Nebuchadnezzar's furnaces. Now, for the pragmatic side, this is how we actually win. What would happen if the GOP lost half of its evangelical support overnight? Obviously, yes, it would cause pain for evangelicals. With liberals in control, we could see Christianity further persecuted in America. However, as we can see in the Bible, right choices do get rewarded, and you need to ask yourself, what would the GOP's reaction be? Would they stop pandering to the left and start imposing godly Christian morals into our political world? You bet they would. We have to understand that political parties are often like petulant children. They want power at any cost, and you may have heard before that a politician's main goal is to get reelected and nothing more. Just like petulant children, if they're allowed to run amok, they also need discipline from time to time. Discipline is good. It's a good thing. It is a healthy thing. It corrects, it rebukes, it rejects bad behavior from both our children and from political parties. And I know moderates are always going to cry out about that conservative choice isn't electable. However, the only reason that moderate choice is electable is because Christians will inevitably line up to vote for them no matter what, just so long as they are Republicans. It's time that the church flip the tables and make the moderate candidate unelectable. It's time that the church finally take off the belt and tell certain politicians that we're not free votes to be harvested once every 2 years, but votes to be won. And withholding your vote from a straight Republican ticket, you don't waste your vote. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Your vote becomes more valuable because it's not so easily bought at the sight of seeing an R beside a politician's name. Once again, my name is Tommy Dimsdale of the Dimsdale Debate. Please leave us a like, subscribe, share all of our stuff with all your cousins, neighbors, anybody you know. Share it to Facebook especially. And if you would, subscribe to us down below, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell notification. That'll give you a notification every single time that we post another video. Other than that, thank you guys. God bless you.